Lagos, a city of dreams, ambition, and relentless motion. Nigeria's commercial capital, the heartbeat of West Africa's economy, and home to millions from every part of the country. Among those who have come to define its business landscape are the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria, renowned for their entrepreneurship, resilience, and an almost instinctive ability to build commerce from the ground up. For decades, the Igbos have been a driving force behind Lagos' bustling markets, from Alaba to Balogun, from Trade Fair Complex to Computer Village. Their shops, warehouses, and trading networks supply goods across the nation and beyond. But today, that legacy, one built over generation, is facing an uncertain future. In recent years, a series of events from demolitions of major Igbo-dominated business hubs to accusation of ethnic bias and profiling have raised a troubling question. Is Igbo business under threat in Lagos? This is not a story of ethnicity alone. It is a story about economy, governance, and identity, about how Nigeria's most dynamic entrepreneurs now stand at a crossroad between opportunity and vulnerability. In the heart of Lagos, Africa's largest commercial city, millions wake each morning to chase the promise of prosperity. Among them, the Igbo people have built some of Nigeria's most enduring business empires, from Alaba International Market to Trade Fair Complex, and from small family shops to sprawling real estate ventures. But in recent times, that legacy appears to be under threat. Markets, once thriving with trade, now lie in ruins. Shops have been demolished, estates cleared overnight, and for many, questions remain. Is this urban renewal or something more? This is not just the story of demolished walls. It is the story of a people, their enterprise, and their uncertain place in Nigeria's economic capital. From Alaba to Trade Fair, from Owerri to Lekki, we follow the trail of destruction and the debates to understand what's really happening and what it means for the future of business and unity in Lagos. In mid-2024, bulldozers rolled into Alaba International Market, one of West Africa's largest electronics trading centers. To the authorities, it was a necessary exercise, an effort to clear illegal structures, improve sanitation, and restore urban order. To many traders, however, it felt like something else entirely. Alaba is not just a market, it is an empire of enterprise, built by thousands of small and medium-scale traders, most of them Igbo, who arrive in Lagos with little more than determination. Here, fortunes have been made and families sustained for generations. When demolition began, traders claimed they received little or no notice. Shops, warehouses, and storage units were reduced to rubble overnight. The Lagos state government insisted that only illegal extensions and unsafe structures were affected, but to many in the Igbo community, the exercise seemed selective, another episode of a growing pattern of economic displacement. Standing among the ruins, a trader told local media, "We were told our shops violated regulations, yet the other side remains untouched. Why us?" The Alaba demolition sent shockwaves beyond Lagos. It sparked fears that Igbo-dominated markets could be carelessly targeted under the guise of urban renewal, and for many, it marks the beginning of what they call a new form of economic marginalization. In June 2025, the story took another turn. P2B, a prominent Nigerian politician and businessman, went public with a complaint that a property belonging to his younger brother's company, located in the heart of Lagos, had been demolished without legal due process. The building, he said, had stood for over 15 years, no demolition notice, no verified court order. The family only learned of its destruction after the fact. Lagos state authorities quickly denied involvement, insisting that no official agency ordered the demolition, but the event ignited a nationwide debate. If a family as prominent and law-abiding as the Obi's family could have their property demolished in such a manner, what protection remains for ordinary citizens, for the countless small Igbo traders whose name carry no political weight? For many observers, these incidents blurred the line between regulatory enforcement and selective justice. It reinforced fears that ethnic and political identity might be shaping who is protected and who is not, even in the nation's most cosmopolitan city. Perhaps nowhere has this issue become more visible than at the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex in Ojo, a massive commercial hub housing thousands of traders, many of them from the Igbo heartland. In late 2025, government bulldozers again arrived, demolishing nearly 20 buildings inside the new Mandela Plaza. Officials said the structures were illegal, unsafe, and poorly documented. But as the dust settled, traders were left counting their losses worth billions of naira. Rows of warehouses, showrooms, and offices built through years of collective efforts were gone. Right groups condemned the action. They argued that while regulation and safety are important, the speed and scope of the demolition reflected something deeper, a climate of distrust between the Lagos state authorities and Igbo commercial communities. The Foundation for Environmental Rights and Development called it a calculated economic blow against a people whose only offense is enterprise. Ohanes Igbo, the apex Igbo social-cultural organization, urged all Igbo investors to reconsider their exposure in Lagos. Their statement read, "Our people have built cities within cities, markets within markets, but what happens when your foundations are constantly threatened?" For traders at the Trade Fair Complex, the question is not abstract. It is a personal, immediate, and a painful one. What makes these incidents more alarming is their growing frequency. Since 2019, several Igbo town unions claim that over 2,700 properties owned by Igbos have been demolished across Lagos, with an estimated loss exceeding 23 trillion naira. These are staggering numbers, difficult to independently verify, but deeply resonant among those who feel targeted. Plazas at Amuodofi Estates and other parts of Lagos, business sites across Ojo have reportedly faced similar fates. Each time, the official explanation is the same: illegal structures, environmental concern, enforcement of a master plan. But each time too, the affected owner claim selective justice, that enforcement seems to land more heavily on their side of the ethnic divide. Lagos State insists that the law applies equally to all. Yet, in a country where perception often shapes reality, the sense of persecution has become widespread. To many Igbo traders, these demolitions are not random. They are reminders that despite their contribution to the city's economy, their security of ownership remains fragile. On the shores of Victoria Island stood the landmark beach resort, one of Lagos' most iconic leisure and tourism destinations, a place that symbolized modern African hospitality. In late 2023, bulldozer arrived without usual fanfare of public notice. Within hours, portions of the resort, including beachfront facilities and restaurants, were reduced to rubble. The Lagos State government said the demolition was part of its Coastal Highway Development Project, a federal initiative designed to connect Lagos to Calabar, an ambitious coastal expressway. But as videos of the demolition circulated online, outrage followed. Many questioned why the project had to begin at the very site of a multi-billion-naira resort, a hub employing hundreds of Nigerians and attracting thousands of visitors monthly. The owner of the landmark group represented a growing pattern: the destruction of thriving private enterprise under the banner of development, a process critics say often lacked due process, consultation, and adequate compensation. In the days that followed, the story of Landmark became emblematic of a deeper tension in Lagos between progress and preservation, between policy and people. While officials spoke of modernization and national interest, affected businesses spoke of livelihoods, dreams, and displacement. For many Igbos with investment across the city, the message was unmistakable. Even legitimate high-profile establishments were not safe from sudden state action. The demolition of landmark resorts thus became more than a story of lost property. It became a mirror reflecting the fragile trust between government authority and private enterprise in Nigeria's largest economy. Then, in late 2025, the controversy leapt from construction sites to the screen. A retail company in Lagos, Bokumat, released a commercial featuring a consumer saying she prefers shopping there because, quote, "No Omoibo will cheat me." The ad went viral within hours, sparking outrage across Nigeria and beyond. To many viewers, it was not merely a careless joke. It was an expression of deep-seated prejudice, portraying Igbo traders as dishonest by default. Under pressure, the company pulled down the video and issued an apology. The influencer involved also apologized publicly, but the damage was done. The episode revealed how casual stereotypes about Igbo entrepreneurship have found their way into public discourse. From street jokes to corporate branding, it illustrated that the threat to Igbo business in Lagos is not only fiscal or legal, it is also psychological and cultural. A slow erosion of trust, reputation, and belonging. When economic competition becomes intertwined with ethnic suspicion, the result is not progress, but division. Yet, the story is not one-sided. Lagos remains one of the most diverse cities in Africa, a place where millions of Igbos still thrive, own properties, and employ thousands. Many Lagos officials and Yoruba leaders reject the idea that the state is targeting any ethnic group. They argue that urban renewal is essential to safety and development, and that enforcement affects all residents, regardless of origin. Indeed, there have been demolitions in non-Igbo areas in Lekki, Idumota, and Owerri, affecting Yorubas and Hausa residents alike. The truth, as always, lies somewhere in the middle. The real challenge may not be deliberate persecution, but the absence of a clear policy, communication, and inclusiveness. When governance fails to explain its action transparently, Perception fills the gap. And perception in Nigeria's charged ethnic climate can be just as powerful as reality. Still, the cumulative effect is undeniable. Across markets and communities, a climate of fear is spreading. Igbo traders now speak of insecurity, not from violence, but from uncertainty. Uncertainty about the value of their investments, their rights, and their place in the city they help to build. For over half a century, the Igbos have turned Lagos into a symbol of what determination can achieve. They arrived as migrants, built as pioneers, and became indispensable to the city's economy. But today, the narrative has shifted. Between bulldozers and biased adverts, many feel their contribution have been undervalued, their ownership questioned. Yet, history offers a perspective. This is not the first time the Igbos have faced adversity. From the ashes of war, they rebuilt. From exclusion, they innovated. From displacement, they created new cities and new wealth. Across the southeast, new investments are rising. Technology parks in Enugu, industrial estates in Abia, and modern markets in Anambra. Perhaps this moment of threat may become a turning point, a call to reimagine the geography of Igbo enterprise. Still, Lagos remains too important to abandon. It is not just a city, it is a canvas of ambition where cultures converge and commerce thrives. The question now is not whether the Igbo will leave or stay. It is whether Nigeria can create a system where success does not provoke suspicion, where the right to rebuild is protected by fairness, not defined by identity. Because in the end, the future of Igbo business in Lagos is a mirror of Nigeria itself, a nation still struggling to balance law with justice, regulation with inclusion, and diversity with unity. As the bulldozer settles and the markets rebuild, the hope remains that Lagos, the city of commerce and contradiction, will once again prove that opportunity in Nigeria need not have a tribe. In every market cleared and every property lost, a question lingers. What becomes of the people who built the foundation of Lagos trade? The Igbo story in Lagos is not just about business. It is about belonging, coexistence, and the resilience of a people determined to rebuild, no matter how many times they are displaced. The city skyline continues to rise, but the measure of progress is not only in glass towers. It is in fairness, inclusion, and justice for all who call Lagos home. Because without them, without the markets, the traders, the builders, Lagos would not be the city it is today. Thanks for watching. If you found this documentary insightful, support our work by subscribing, sharing this video, and leaving your thoughts below. Together, we will tell the untold story of Africa truthfully, powerfully, and without fear. This is 1010 Media, documenting Africa. Until next time, thank you for watching.